Governor Mike Huckabee. I thought it was interesting, that last sound that we just heard. He said these people, these people are not fair people. They're they give you fake news. He went on his rip for a while. Now, tonight, ironically, is the White House Correspondents' Dinner, where the media gets together and they slap each other on the back. What say you about that?
It's a room full of people who are hugging themselves so tightly it's a miracle they can breathe. It's got to be one of the most phony things that ever happened. There's more authenticity at a wax museum than there is at one of these dinners. I hate these things because it's just such a self-congratulatory orgy of emotion, of feeling like we are the world. And what I think the president did by going to Washington, Michigan tonight was to say, you guys in the press corps, you're not my people. These are my people. And it was a beautiful juxtaposition of why Donald Trump is president and why his approval ratings are actually climbing. And I know that's driving some of the people in that dinner absolutely nuts.
I love when the president talked about it. He said, they said there was going to be a nuclear holocaust, there was going to be nuclear war, and yet there he is. And, and the audience got it. But, I'd like to talk to you about Maxine Waters. All right, so the president talks about Maxine. I don't know if we have that sound. Okay, let's hit it.
If you listen to Maxine Waters... She goes around saying, we will impeach him. We will impeach him. Then people said, but he hasn't done anything wrong. Oh, that doesn't matter. We will impeach the president.
Your take?
Well, I just think it's amazing that the Democrats continue to talk about impeaching a president that has no impeachable reasons and crimes. I mean, this is insane. I hope they keep that message up, because they're exposing themselves for trying to realize or trying to somehow forget that the way you get rid of a political figure you don't like is to elect somebody else. You don't weaponize everything that a person does. And that's what they're trying to do. And it makes them look utterly foolish when they do it.
Well, what's interesting, though, that, the more they talk like this, I mean, the crazier they sound, honestly. I mean, especially when the Intel Committee from the House came out and said there's absolutely there's no Russian collusion. And Adam Schiff is still, he's got his tinfoil hat on. He's waiting for the Russians to communicate with him and tell him for sure the president was colluding. But, you have to look at this president and say the guy works 24/7. He works nonstop. He's doing all this stuff that he talked about tonight, and they're still talking about impeaching him. You wonder, where does he get the get up and go to get up and go?
It's one thing, though, for Maxine Waters to say this, but earlier today I was listening to some commentator, a Democrat operative, and a person was interviewing her on one of the other networks. And here's what I found interesting. They kept saying there's a good chance Donald Trump won't even be in office a year from now. And when called out about it, they continue to try to defend these ridiculous statements. Now, that's maybe wishful thinking on their part, but it's dangerous thinking to try to put in the heads of the American people that this is a president that won't fulfill his entire term and probably a second one. And that's what concerns me. In all the years that Obama was president, I didn't agree with a lot of his policies, but I never thought that the way that President Obama should end his term is somehow to have a bunch of lies told about him so that then we would just get rid of him, not because he was unelected or had done a crime, but because we just didn't like it. That's just not the way the system works. That's what you do in banana republics. It's not what you do in the United States of America.
But, Governor, sometimes when I look at the FBI and how they were acting in the intel community, I think that there are some people out there who actually buy that lunacy. But hopefully that will all come to an end. And one quick question. Did you see the Grazie's committee? They let out that bill so that the president, out of judiciary, the president can't fire Mueller. What'd you think of that?
Well, it's absurd. Of course he can fire Mueller. I don't think he should because it would be politically disastrous.
Yeah, but why would a Republican let that out of committee?
Mueller works for the executive branch.
Yep.
Yeah, well, the thing that some of these Republicans, I think, are more interested in protecting Mueller than they are in protecting the president of the United States. That is disgusting.
All right, Governor Mike Huckabee, thanks so much for being with us. And more from the president.
Always a pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you.